evening, everyone. Let's bow our heads for prayer. Let's stand. Let's bow our eyes closed. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for letting everyone here come in your presence today, dear Lord. I pray as we sing, you will clear our voices and you will accept our praise to you, dear Lord. I pray that those who are on their way, you will give them clear roads so they can come to church safely. I pray and ask that will have an successful day with you, dear Lord, and we will learn something new. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Please be seated. Our first hymn will be hymn number 281, When He Cometh. 218, sorry. Hymn number 444. Hymn number 444, I Am a Pilgrim. will be hymn number 444, How Sweet Are the Tidings. 442, sorry. 2.
442.
For the AY features.
The aim?
The Advent message
To all the world in my generation. The motto? The love of Christ compels me. Present arms for pledge. Loving the Lord Jesus, I promise to take an active part in the youth ministry of the church, doing what I can to help others, and to finish the work of the gospel in all the world.
Order arms. Song, We Are a Mighty Army. Please be seated.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are so happy that you came back this afternoon. I don't know about you all, but something about the uniform. They had taught me this when I was in club. Officer Sharon would be able to vouch for this. They taught me, I remember we went to a fair up El Dorado, where the youth camp was, the girl youth camp. And Sister Swan and they were our leaders. And they saw some folks wearing the uniform a certain how. And they turned to us and said, don't ever let us see all you wearing the people uniform like that. You know, Brother Brad, rain was falling and folks in the rain enjoying themselves. The B uniform is the jersey I had on with their Pathfinder pants or Master Guide pants. And the jersey was out of the pants, and they were having a good time, and they turned and said, "Ole, come. You see that? Don't ever let us see Ole when." They didn't have to say it twice, once. And we understood, and I think all of that came about because of the relationship we developed with the leaders over the years, Sister Beth. So the leaders, when they speak to you, it's not because they don't like you, but because of that relationship. They say something, or you did something, and you're wondering, is it Sister Sharon coming to talk to me about your officer handwriting? And you say, I prefer Sister Sharon. So, but I'm saying all this to say that in the club, just as the church operates as a family, the club operates the same way. And I think a little more. I think a little more. I will share one or two things with you all about club, exposing some of the leaders like Officer Sharon. I think at Liberty a little bit, Sister Bev, not much, a little bit, Brother Brad, because Officer Sharon is still my senior, and she could still strip me of my little badges then, and tell me start all over again, So I'm mindful of, and that's the beauty of our club. I remember, I don't mean to take up time. I remember being in club with Officer Clyde Allen, Officer Antoine, we had Officer Pat, officer from Marbella Church. He died now, I forget his name. Ralph, Officer Ralph. And for the young men in club at that time was really a plus for us. Some of us were struggling with male figures, family, main figures to really look up to in the community. And when you join club and you saw these men, these senior men, and you say, but these old men in club? But hello. When they started to talk to you say, boy, best these fellas in me in club, But over the years, you grow to love them because they always had their best interests at heart. And something that I have cherished up to this day, no matter where I go, wherever I see them, it's very hard for I to say Sister Sharon. It's very hard for I to say Brother Allen. It's very hard. I will always say officer, because I believe over the years they would have done their due diligence, and they deserve that respect. So in club, you give respect, and when the time reaches, you will get the respect. So at this time, I hand over to our Pathfinder leader, Sister Laverne, as she will lead out and introduce the other aspect of the meeting, the service this evening. Thank you.
Okay, so it's the Sabbath, so hello everyone. And yes, so we are promoting the Pathfinder Club. It's Global Adventurer Day, and we do have much adventurers here. But we want to promote different uniforms. So pastor is what you call official uniform. You cannot wear your tunic or your Pathfinder shirt with the emblems incorrectly. You cannot. A field uniform is different. So if you look, I will show you. Right. This jersey has a message on it because it came from a particular international camp. You can also have different places in different countries. So like if we were in England in December, you would have a fleece on. And if you have the fleece on, you cannot have another jersey hanging outside the fleece. We're beginning to make sense? Right? So it's always a matter of decorum. And obviously, if we think about it too, abroad, like if sometimes abroad, like a time we were in Poland, and you were actually not allowed not to wear what we call tights. Not tights, we know that. It's actually a thick stocking because it was cold. So we do a lot of things, what we call environmentally, and a lot of the dress codes has to do with environmental things. But it is always with the decorum of being covered. So in Pathfinder, we don't ever wear armholes, even if it's movie night or whatever. I'm just letting you all know. These are the things that we supposed to attest to. And your sash, well, the sash is one over the correct shoulder. Once you have on your sash, you must have on your proper top and skirt. If you have on your sash, you must have on your scarf. You could wear your scarf without the sash, but you cannot wear the sash without the scarf. Does that make sense? Right. So if we are having a Pathfinder meeting, whether it's a fair, an AY, once you're invested, you must have on your scarf. If you don't have on your scarf, your club lose points. So we're beginning to bring it home? Okay. Being invested. I've been to some clubs. I'm saying all of this for us to begin to understand the uniform club. I've been to some places. The sash, that is an integral part of your uniform. I know that the conference didn't have the, what did they call it? The triangle and the actual investiture. It's not a patch, whatever, that, I forgot what they call it. If you are invested, you must receive that. Without that, you are not wearing an invested uniform. That song's thing. So, Pastor, we need to get those things in the conference. The sash, if you're invested, you must have that triangle, which is a specific sign. That's the one the church can take back. What you wear here, nobody has to take that back. But this means if you stand for the spiritual study or tenets that the children or young adults would have studied to attain that investment. That's why they call it invested. All right? Okay. Yes. If you have that, you're invested. I saw some people, not here, wearing that, and they put, because they got the triangle and they put it on, and I asked, what class are you invested in? I'm not invested. You're not supposed to wear that triangle, nor that master guide scarf if you're not invested. Because, like Pastor said, well, I'm really an APLA. I only wear the APLA thing because, well, anyway. Sister Sharon, I know Sister Sharon, Officer Sharon. Like Pastor said, if we come here and somebody is out there and you're drinking alcohol, we can ask you, may I have your sash, please? It is that serious. So this Pathfinder Club, if you notice, it actually begins to teach young people for work, industry, and professional life. Because if you remember, God says, all things that we do is supposed to be to the glory of God. So they're going to be trained in all the different avenues of study. So science, nature, decorum, what they call mechanics, nature, outdoors, and so on. And by the way, some of our science study is good enough for Form 1, 2, and 3. Yes? It can go to that level. And if you do the advanced honors, it goes even much deeper into physics. That's how wonderful this is, stargazing and stuff like that. The study of the pearly gates for the young ones, that actually gives them a real good focus into what heaven looks like and so on. So in general, the Pathfinders, adventurers, and Pathfinders, it actually teaches us the things that we can use for life. It makes you a better citizen while here on earth, and it points you towards the citizenship that we are looking for towards heaven. So it is an avenue through which our children will be trained in the way they should go, that they will not depart. I want to say something for today. In today's life and world, children are facing a lot of challenges, and there are a lot of things that we need to do that's going to be relevant. And I think one major thing is about the awareness of substance abuse. 1. 2, physical and emotional abuse. There are different forms of abuse that they may be facing in class, in classroom, in play, that they're not aware that is actually abusive, that is affecting their emotions. And then you realize your child begins to get withdrawn, but nothing has happened, but it's a repeat of it going on. So these are the things we do as well in the club. There is personal hygiene. So sometimes parents may think they cannot speak to their children about stuff, but because we do it as a collective whole and from a biblical principle as well, we're able to do these things. I also had experiences where parents feel inadequate or whatever to speak to their children about certain things, and with their permission, of course, we are able to do it in club. So I am saying all of this to say that club life is outdoor, indoor, physical, spiritual. Most of the spiritual things might be done like Sabbath afternoon, because that's when, we have them and it's sabbatical. But all of the other things would be done on different times, whichever day we choose to have our club meetings. Right. So we're here to promote, mostly, I would say, the Adventurer Club. The Pathfinders as well, and then you have Master Guides. And anything after that, you're still a Master Guide, just with other accolades. But Master Guide is the, let's say, the high point to everything. To be a Master Guide, you must be baptized. So every time you see a Master Guide, they are baptized. So, if someone backslides, you can no longer wear your Master Guide uniform. We get to see how. I think it's wonderful because you have something to work towards. So it's like you're in place of work, and I'm saying that because we're asking the parents, because we need a parent support. We cannot have the children without the parents. Because we need your parental support, consent even, to have the children in club. We all know that. So if you know where this is going, you begin to chart, right, this is good character development for our children. So just like in workplace, you parents, when you're looking for a promotion, you're not walking on eggshells, but you're making sure that you do things correct. You do things correctly. So it's the same thing in the club. To move from class to class, you've got to attain the different, say, principles, do the different activities, and pass with honors. And that word honors has its meaning just like in university and stuff. You are actually attaining an honor in a field of study or discipline with the spiritual aspect. So, as I said, as well as everyone said this morning, okay, so Pathfinders, of course, from the cradle until you depart. But the classes have specific age levels. So, between 3 to 5, you can be in the Little Lamb and Eager Beavers. And then from 5 to 10, you have the other 5 adventurer classes. And then from 10 straight up to 16, you can be a Pathfinder, then a guide, straight into the Master Guide. Yes? And it's a wonderful thing. Now, I am sorry, my sash was in the car. And I want to say that we're not supposed to have a badge, a patch, a star on the patch, or those metal things you see that we attain from different camps. So it's not just attending a camp, it's the activities you have to engage in. Nothing is supposed to be worn unless you achieved it. And I want us to know that now, and let me tell you what that builds. That builds integrity and honesty. So if you have something and you know they just gave you it to look good, or they had the pin, it's wrong. You're meant to wear it because you have attained it. Is that all right? So, I call them bling. Get your bling, but earn your bling. All right? And wear it proudly. And it's good work, it's hard work, but it builds what we call a curriculum. So, what I would like to do, Sister Sharon and Pastor Wayne Jeffrey would say some more, but I would like us to think about now, although children came and they said yes, they would like to join up with the Pathfinders and so on, or are already in the Pathfinders, but because of COVID, we know we had that lull. Most of you would remember when we went down to Latin and we had that fantastic day and then COVID came. Right? So we understand what it is to be in uniform and to go out there and work. So what we'd like to do just a little later on after Officer Sharon and Pastor Jeffrey has a little word with us, I would like the parents here who would like their children to, so I say, re-enroll or enlisted again in the Pathfinder and Adventurer Club. And if the children who haven't got parents here would like and are interested, you can give your name, but we would have to have your parents, well, I know most of you, your parents' name or contact number. We must contact them first. So this is with parental consent once you're under 12 and 16. Okay? Lovely. Now, I would like to sing the Adventurer song. Do we know it? Because, yeah, you remember it, yes? It's a lovely song. We never sing the song sitting. You know that, right? So we're going to sing the Adventurer song. And then Officer Sharon and Pastor Jeffrey would come up, please. I love that song. I'm not going to stay by the mic and sing. Right. Sister Bev, the adventurous song. Ready? You know it, we are adventurers. Three. We are adventurers. Three, ready? 3, 4. We are adventurers. At home, at school, at play. We are adventurers. We're working every day to be honest, kind, and true. To be like Jesus, true and true. We are adventurers. We are adventurers. At home, at school, at play. We are adventurers. We're learning every day to be honest, kind, and true. To be like Jesus, true and true. We are adventurers. Beautiful. You can have your seats.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now, let me take out this. Right. I want to say something. I love children. All you hear me? I sincerely love children. And you know, when I say I love children, everyone, you know, sometimes I often hear adults saying, that child bad, that child no good, that child miserable. And I want to tell all you something. I have no bad children. Children, and listen carefully, children are easily misled. They are not bad because whatever children see, hear, you know, it have a song goes, be careful little eyes, what you see, ears, what you hear. Right. I want to say this afternoon, children are very, very important. Everybody, because we were once little children, right? And today we grow. Everybody have different experience. But I really want to share, let me say 3 short experience. And talking about this for you all to know the importance of children. I'm sorry that more adults, parents wasn't here. Sometimes in life we want to have the best of children. When we go out, we want to hear people say, that child nice. We want to hear all the good things about the children. Even at school, we want them to perform. When they reach the age to go to school, we want them to perform the best. Always come first in tests and hear something great about them. This does not just happen just so. Because if you're not teaching them at home, when they go to school, they'll be struggling. Okay? If you notice all the things you've seen on the media about children fighting and things like that, that didn't just happen just so. That is the result of us parents, what we deposit in our children. You know, I say deposit, we doesn't want to take the blame. But whatever you allow, you see, it have a little, looking at the smallest child here in the corner there. If you allow that little child, sometimes you're watching the crib, right? From baby, yeah. And as you, good, pick them up, and as you do so, they stop. Because they know they want that hand, they cannot talk. But children, it's always like that. Children have sense. They have brains that you have to allow them to explore. So if you let go a little child hand, he will walk, run all over. You have to guide them, right? And I'll tell you something. in Adventurer. I talk about Adventurer age now, right? I went on the beach. Quinam Beach had a baptism. So the little children, anyway, you want to find Sharon, you just look for the children. It ain't hard to find me. Just look wherever children is, and all you'll find me there. That is for sure. And the child, he was about almost 3 years. He wasn't 3 yet. But the pastor they was singing and whatnot, and then he started to do a little sermonette there. And everything the pastor did, that little child, he jump in, he doing just what the pastor doing. I'm showing you as a leader, that is my gift. I just notice. I like to observe, right? And that child jump in, but how did I say it? He mocking or he shadowing, whatever, but he doing what the pastor doing, right? He getting on like if he preaching and thing, and the mother grab him. Come here, behave yourself. I don't care nothing. When I see things like that, I just butt him, but in a nice way. And I say, no, leave him. But look how he behaving, Sharon. I say, no, leave him. He not doing anything bad. So I turn around and I watch him. I think some of you all might know him. He is a twin, and his name is Jabari. Tell us, Ford. And I said, Jabari, you like to preach? He do so. I say, you want to preach? He do so. I say, well, all right. One day soon, I'll put you to preach. He wasn't 3 as yet, eh? A year passed, and then when the next year come in, I had a Pathfinder day in church, right? With me, when I have a Pathfinder day, I just include Adventurer, everybody. And I went to his mom and I said, I want Jabari to preach. She said, no, you crazy? What you want the people to think about? I said, what people? I said, no. Honestly, I said, let the bastard preach. I want him to preach. She said, Sharon, you're crazy. I said, I want him to preach. All I did was to give him the topic. I tell the mother, she want help, come to me. I'll go to the pastor or I will do what I could do. But I just tell her the topic and give her a little highlight. You wouldn't believe that child, Jabari, tell us what he's about 90 now, I think. That child went and preached in church. And everybody, if you drop a pin in the head, everybody was surprised. You see, opportunities, being observant, you take, when you see children behave in certain way, you use them. You pray, you ask God, and God will show you the calling. As leaders, I am telling you, and that is not the first time it happened. It happened to about 3 of them in the church. Cohen Pope, I say, you're going and preach. You crazy? I say, no, you're going and preach this evening. Just so I tell him, give him a text. And we went in Altagasta, Trace and Saparia in our outreach, and everybody shocked. Up to this day, Jabari preaching, Cohen preaching, Craig Ferguson preaching, and not only preachers, I look at some of them with taking a needle, and Carolina Velasco sticking, you might know, that's Dale child mother, right? She's sticking, want to stick everybody, sticking up everything with the pin. I watch her, I laugh. All you have to do when you see children doing things like that is to call them up in front, in the club, and give them something to do that, you look at the positive thing, that what you're looking at negative. Today, I always say she will be a nurse, and that is what Carolina is. I am saying this to say, children are easily misled. If you do not have plans for your children, you hear me? You will not get nothing much out of it. Don't expect them to do good, and you ain't putting in anything. And I am saying this, this today, because I'm pleading for the young ones in church. We don't want to see them by the wayside. The friends, when you send them to school, somebody mightn't be from a Christian home and easily influenced. You have to love your children. that doesn't mean to say anything don't want to give them. Tough love, right? Give them the needs, tell them why they cannot get something, make them understand, teach them to reason. And the best time to start at is with the little ones and get them involved in Adventurer. Because in the Adventurer Club, those who are Pathfinder age here, put them in the Pathfinder Club. It have a lot, you see a lot. And I believe that parents have to support the leader. It have parent club that the parents could come out, their duty, they could have raising fund, they go to camp with us, when time, they plan the menu, they go and shop for the, and help. If they know any craft, anything that they can do, they can come and share it in the Pathfinder Club. When you do that, the church, get them involved in welfare and things. Pathfinder covers everything. The church will be better, stronger. Don't have no jealousy and wish the leader or the welfare leader bad and wishing them to fall. Help them, support them, and this will grow and you'll have a better church. And then this set of inreach, we will do outreach, and that is how we could bring in new members. We could go out there and fish, okay? And I'm just saying that so that to encourage you all. Don't forget that you didn't hear, you can't say you didn't know, you didn't hear. Where are the children? Where are my children? Where is my child? What plan do I have for my child? Understand? And when you have plans for your children, you support that plan and you push it. Keep pushing it. You cannot do that unless you pray, you talk to God, and you have to do your part. Don't say, Jesus help me, and then you still sit down there. Get up and do what you have to do. So I just shared these little things with you so that it will encourage you to know that Adventurer Club is where it starts. And I was a person very, very busy, involved in all sorts of things. I could dance, I could do all kind of things. I used to run for Village Olympics. My brother, Ian Morris, I surely know him, used to run for Trinidad. If you see, when I start to run, so I running, and I don't care nothing because my father left home, right? And it was my mother alone. So people didn't understand when I in school why I used to behave how I behave. Not bad, I was just silent. I had my grief. So when I run, and I used to see like my father up there, believe it or not, and I will run. And I cannot come second nor last. I always have to come first. They call that determination. But what I'm saying, I had a past that when I joined the Adventist church, I wanted something active for me to be in. And Pathfinder was the active club that had everything. So I could run for Pathfinders to the Adventist church. I could play basketball. I could do anything. So Annette, the reason why I'm looking young is because I'm mixing with them. I'm rolling with them. You understand? And they keep me up. So if they say, come on, miss, let us run, go and hike, I still have that energy by God's grace. So y'all, hard work, determination, and just help each other, work with each other, and forget the rest. Pray and keep on praying. Thank you.
So let me begin. So apart from leaders, we need counselors in our clubs. Sometimes even the children, when you see their potential, you give them different roles to play in the Adventurer Club. Yes, so it's important. We have, as we are on Adventurers, let me state here that the Adventurers gain certain things besides just getting knowledge and practical experience. They also get what we call the honors and the pins. Okay, if you look at Pastor Alexander, I just want you to stand and turn around so people will see those different colors on his pocket, right? So those are the clutch pins for the different. Right, so thanks very much, Pastor. You can sit now. If I don't tell him to sit, he'll keep standing. So you can have your seat now. Thank you very much. So, all of the different aspects of club. So you would have, for instance, the BCB, and you have the Sunbeam, and the Helping Hands, and so. Whenever they do the activities in the book, at the end of it, they would get one of the pins, and they would also get something that we call honors when they do an activity. So for instance, you would have times in the church when you will go out witnessing, and you will be giving out pamphlets, or you would go to an open air and you would preach, and you would ask the adventurers or the young people to take part in it. They have what you call these awards. You would see these triangular and square, what they call them, insignias or so. They would give them, and they would actually put them on their sash as well. So they are incentive. In fact, even for the parents, they have what we call parent pins. So when your child is getting their pin, you receive one as well to show that you are involved in the child's life. These things are done. They are part of the club so that you will get not husband and wives alone close to each other, but you will get the children or the child close to the parent so that they would work with them. So this not only goes for club, but it also goes for the academics of the child. Whenever there are activities, the parents will be there so that they can benefit. Not only there, but your child or children have the privilege and opportunity of going to other places, meeting children in different parts of the world, okay, getting incentives, and of course, they would be given tasks at some point in time to be leaders and to do certain aspects of pathfinding when they go to, for instance, when you have fairs, you have particular programs and events for the different age groups in a particular place where you would have, take for instance, all the pathfinders and adventurers in Trinidad. You have a time when we have Adventurer and Pathfinder Fair, and they would play an integral part in doing a particular piece of music or preaching, or you would have them do some skill or read some portion of the Bible, where they will be awarded for it, and of course their club will also win different things. So we see here that there are benefits. And of course, while your child grows, I want you to understand this, while your child grows in the club, your child will actually be coming up the ranks and being part and parcel of each aspect of the church. So your child will actually move from AY, Adventurer, Pathfinder, as it is stated, to grow to Master Guide age, where such individuals will be elders, head deacons, head deaconess. They will be Sabbath school teacher and superintendents. All these things are training that begin from club level. And of course, your children, their talents and their gifts will be seen. And they will be able to chart a particular course. You as a parent will be able to guide your child or children in the path where you will see that they are or that they really want to go in. And that's very important, because most times I hear parents on the outside saying, I don't know what he wants to know. And he don't even know what she wants. And in fact, I worked at several of our Seventh-day Adventist schools in Trinidad, and I can name them: Diego Martin, Southern Academy, Humana Seventh-day Adventist School, Sangre Grande Primary School, Bates Memorial High. And I have heard some parents say that they don't know. Their child reached Form 4 and 5 and they don't know what they want to do. They don't have a direction. The Uniform Club help your child or children to be able to chart their course even before they reach Form 4 or 5. In fact, I told you this morning, my son states he wants to be a scientist. He said, Dad, I don't want to stay in Trinidad and study. I want to go abroad. So I've already started saving money. And as I said before, I'm not just doing that because he told me, but I am seeing exactly what he's doing. The boy mixing all kind of things. You can't leave anything down there. Last week I found a container of toothpaste there. I said, but what is this? All the toothpaste in the house finished in just a few days. The toothpaste inside the man drawer, you know. When I go in the fridge, I have to ask, what is this in the deep freeze? Because you can't just go in the fridge and take up refrigerator in the deep freeze and take up things, Brother Brent. You might end up somewhere else. So I have to ask, what is this? And he will tell me, what did you mix here? So he made his own soap. And he made, the first thing he did, I just give an example, he made some slime. Now, the first time he did that, I really gave him a spanking because I didn't understand it. And then the second time he did it, I wondered why. So usually I drop him to school, so his mother was going to give him a little spanking there. So I asked him, so why you did that? We're looking for the salt and we can't find the salt. I'm going to put on clothes on you and the salt quite down in the back of a drawer in your chest drawer. Why you hide the pound of salt? Dad, I was trying to make something. I say, all right. I put back the salt. Next week, same thing happened. This time, he actually took the toothpaste and the salt and all different type of things and placed it in the refrigerator. So I took him to school and I asked him, I said, but I thought you told me you would not interfere with the woman's salt. You don't go in the kitchen and interfere with the woman's things. You'll get into trouble, you'll get yourself into trouble. Why you did that? He said, Dad, I was trying to make slime, but this time I didn't use the toothpaste. He used something else. I said, and why did you do the other thing? He said, well, I did that because the last time I did the experiment, it didn't work. So actually what I did next time is I asked him, I told him, I said, when you want to do an experiment, ask for your ingredients, sister. Don't go in the woman's kitchen and take her things. You're getting yourself into deep waters. Then he asked me for some ingredients, and I went to the pharmacy, and I bought the food coloring. He asked me to buy some other things, because I asked him what he wanted. I didn't just go and buy things randomly. So that's what you do with your children, because if I didn't do that, I asked him, and he told me, and I bought these things. I took him home, and then I stood with him, and I looked at what he did. And of course, he made the slime. And he didn't make it a second time because he stated that it wasn't professionally done, and it didn't come out the way he wanted. Because after a time, it started to get mold and thing on it. So he didn't want to do that after a time. But if you know your child loves to do something, don't debar your child from doing it, because you know what? When you're not at home, they will go and do it. And they could burn down the house. They could do something that could get them into trouble. What you need to do is stay with them and help them to do that thing. And this is what the Adventurer Club does. We allow the children, we allow the counselors who are there to talk and help the young ones to be guided in the right direction. Help them to do whatsoever they love in a particular way. Because there are lots of things to be done in the books that the children will get. You will be amazed, and may I say, you as a parent and as an adult will learn a lot from what the children, books have in them and what they do. And so it's important for you as a parent to partner with your child in every possible way. You know how it looks? You know how it looks to see a father and a mother walking down the road with a child, going by the savannah, playing a little football, because sometimes the book asks you to do certain things with your child. The book asks the child to do some things with their parents, like probably cook a meal or help your mother wash the wares today. So that's the part of the book here. It's help your parents do something in the house. And for that, they get something. They get an incentive. Helping hand. You know? And it would mark on it prayer warrior, because they prayed for somebody today. So every time they look at their sash, they would see these little emblems that give them the courage to continue doing what they have to do. And so it's important. When they are there, they are excited. They have so much art and craft to do. Gold dust and silver dust and all these things to make their crafts and hang them in their house. Every Mother's Day, Father's Day, on special occasions, you would get things because they are taught to honor their parents, to respect others. Go help somebody in your community today. So they would go by a neighbor and do something for them, and they would get a special award. As I close, let me state that many of our churches and church members, not Pastor Brent because he's in club long time and he understands the curriculum and how this thing works, don't understand that the Pathfinder, Master Guide, and Adventurer clubs are clubs that must function. And they learn. And part of what they do on a Sabbath evening is important. So that we have age-appropriate work for the age groups. So that you cannot have 5-year-old to 10-year-olds in AY where they are discussing teenage pregnancy, for example. So what is done? The clubs and AY operate like Sabbath school. You do not take a kindergarten on a Sabbath morning and put them in a junior Sabbath school class. They have their own class. And it's the same with the Pathfinder, the Master Guide, and the Adventurers. They are placed in classes in the afternoon for a particular period of time. And then the Pathfinder and Master Guide, based on the age, they are put in a particular place. So you're having AY. And the AY leaders have the appropriate things while the Adventurers would be in a different place doing their spiritual component. After which, just like midday service, they come back in at a particular time and join the AYs, where they would be able, probably at some point in time, to say probably something that they have done or learned during the Sabbath, if they so want to, if the teacher asks them to, according to what they did. And you have a nice finishing off service for the entire church. I trust that you understand what I'm saying. It's important for us to understand that, because many people in different churches are fighting against the club and don't like the club because of why the children never inside. By not putting an adventurer where they're discussing teenage pregnancy, they don't understand that, and sometimes they're in church and they're just jumping up and pelting things. Why? Because there's nothing suited for their age group. And so we give them things for their age groups so that they can be comfortable. These things are things that should encourage our parents as well to come to AY on an afternoon, and these same children will graduate to become Pathfinder and Master Guides and AY leaders. Because when the AY leaders understand what's happening in clubs, they are better able to be of service to the entire membership at AY time, and they could formulate programs that is geared towards everyone and to help the AY to really be enjoyable. I say that may God bless you and keep you, and again, you have not just a master guide, but you have a pastor who is involved in uniform work. Uniform work is hard work. AY is the most challenging part of church because you are dealing with young minds who are adventurous. They will tell you some things. And let me say here, parents, when your children tell you something, it's not because they're rude at times. You would know them. But listen to them carefully, and you would realize they are asking you questions, and they are making comments based on what they have learned. Sometimes you teach your child something, and the child come back and have to correct you with the same things that you taught them, and you didn't realize that. Deal with your children, yes, in respect and in love, but don't treat them as if they are subordinates. Treat them somehow as though they are your friends, and you would see a difference. You would see a difference. Talk to them. Ask them why. Ask them why not. Sometimes go and lie down on the bed and sleep with them. I do that with my son sometimes. And he fall asleep easier. In fact, sometimes I had to chase him off my bed. 10 in the night, I want to go and see me lie down there. So, Pastor, I lift him up sometimes, but now we get in a little heavy, so I wake him up and I make him walk, but I hold him because he's drifting. And I take him to his bed and put him to lie down. So, you know, we have those good, important things. This is what the clubs does. You have the first preference in telling your child what happens at certain stage in their life. For instance, when my son, something happened to him, the fathers would understand, the mothers too. Yes, sister? He woke up one morning and he called me. He said, Dad, come. I came and sat on his bed. He said, what happened? I said, what happened? He said, but this thing. He frightened because for the first time, he saw it strong. And he got really scared. And yes, the girls can be scared too. He was scared because he didn't know what was happening. And I had to explain to him. And I looked at him and smiled, and he wanted to know what I'm smiling. And I said, once you are alive, that must happen. I said, that proves you are a man and you are growing, and this is part of life. I said, that will start happening from now on. I said, it's nothing to be afraid of. It happened to all boys. It happened to all boys. I said, this just proves that you are healthy. And there and then, I was able to tell him, because he started asking some other questions. Believe that. At 7 and 8 years old, when your children ask you the question, answer them. Don't leave it for somebody else. They might get it wrong. And he asked me certain questions, and I answered them honestly as I could. And there are some things that only a dad could explain to his son because he alone feels it. And that's why I involve when I ask grandparents, grandfathers, and grandmothers to be a part of the club. When your daughter or your granddaughter, for the first time something happens, they will get scared, and when they come to you, it's no time to shove them away. My son asked me all that about girls, and I explained to him. So he knows how to conduct and control himself. And through the Uniform Club, all these things are explained. We go even into the part with the drugs, that you say, we have a kit. Of course, we have to get a license for that from the Ministry of National Security. But now we have to fix it over because some of the drugs are, we have new drugs on the market. So those are things we have on display at particular times. So the children will be able to see these things. And we take the children different places. The archery club, horseback riding, all these things these children experience. So at a particular point in time, they can choose with your guidance and with the help of the Spirit. It will be easy for them before they reach 14, 15 to say, Dad, this is what I want to be. And you bet your bottom dollar, you have to start putting away your money, changing it into US, so that you can start or begin to process things to send your child on the scholarship that the government will give them because they have been blessed and highly flavored. May God bless you as a church and keep you real good.
Thank you, Officer Sharon Mendoza and Pastor Jeffrey. God bless you all. And all of this would be really beneficial if we get a list of those who are interested in, one, assisting in supporting the club, as in adults, counselors, or for club life, and also the children who are interested again in signing up with the club. There are some who have been asking me, and that's fine, and parents have come forward already, but we need to have church members assisting. So we want to carry on with where we were before, but moving forward is that we need to get the church mobilized again. There are many things that we need to put in place, call it hindsight, which is a proper registration. We need to have insurance, even to start clubs. And these COVID times, it's going to be very challenging because of the protocols that are in place. And another thing is that some of the outdoor activities, when we look at the curriculum, if the COVID restrictions remain in place, it's going to be very challenging to get them done. It's going to be calling for, as Pastor said, a lot for home involvement. Children are going to have to do a lot of things at home, and because of the restrictions. Just giving you a little heads up on it. So it's going to be a lot more home engagement. So if you think that, your children is in their room and they're distant and whatever, this is going to help to bring you together, because they're going to want their pad and the patches and so on, or their chips for the younger ones. And this is going to be a good way for home-church relationship gelling together, and more parental involvement at home, which is fun. Trust me, those activities, they're fun. And as Pastor said, yes, you want to give up a little bit of toothpaste and a little bit of flour, and we'll try not to do the things that it's food. But you're going to have to go out and get pebbles and stones. There's so much stargazing. There's leathercraft. There are things that children can even learn that can earn an income. There's crochet. There's macrame. There's knot tying. Knot tying can save your life. Knot tying can save you from tying a knot that will make a car not roll anywhere. There's so much. Simple, simple, simple. A knot that you can draw to you but cannot go away from. Or a knot that cannot come to you but can go away from. There's so much. So let's learn these things. I want to close by saying and remembering that it's unfortunate, but in Pathfindering, we do a lot of social things. And I want to say this, no true adventurer or pathfinder would see a child in a nappy walking away and not hold that child. I'm going to end on that note. We do character development. And also, we're going to be bringing to our children certain things. It's in the curriculum where safety. There are pedophiles out there, and they find what your child likes. And this online thing, only, come on. We have to be in touch with them. They have to be so engrossed in activities they enjoy that they don't get drawn away. No idleness. So, looking forward to Sobo Gems going. It's not about me, but we need counselors to carry the club. So thank you very much. I will leave it to Pastor Alexander, please, to have the last word. And I want to thank Jassy, Kavisha, and Anaya. Thank you very much for your uniform support. It's excellent, it's commendable, and it shows, isn't it? It shows character when you're a pathfinder. It matters not what club you're in. When you do international camps, it's amazing to see that it's actually the spirit of pathfindering. God bless us. We're looking forward to enrollment night and further on induction. And let's go forward and have investitures and be involved in whatever activities that will be available for us in the short time. I don't know how short or how long it would be, but let us go. Sobo Gems. God bless.
Just before I say my two pieces, I just want to ask for general knowledge. Any one of the officers up here can answer us. For a club like Sobo, since we are here, if someone joins the club what's the length of time would that individual have in acquiring a uniform, one? And two, how long will it take before the induction service for the club of this church to take place? Just for general.
Okay, so generally, I would say for the work that the child will do in the different workbooks that we have, it will take, okay, sorry. It will take generally for the work in the workbook, right? It generally takes not more than a year to really complete, right? That can be done in a year, after which they would be invested, or they would be given the pin rather for that Adventist club, whatever they do. And they would also, the other question he asked was with the uniform. Yeah. All right? Well, for the induction, as soon as you have your list of individuals for the club, the children, and of course you would have names of counselors and leaders, the adults who would be there to help. Well, of course, that depends on how long you take to get that list. If you get that list by next week, and all those folks, you can register your club at the conference office. In fact, every year you need to re-register, right? It just takes $125. You register your club. And, of course, these individuals, when they are inducted, you have your induction service as soon as you can. You would also be able to get your uniform. They're supposed to be inducted in uniform. So when the club is started, we try as soon as possible to get uniform for these children. What we normally do, Pastor Brent, well, of course, you'd know that. I'm just saying for emphasis, is that those individuals who they have graduated, so to speak, from Adventist and they have gone into Pathfinder, we ask these individuals to pass down their uniforms. They may need some adjustment to the Adventists who are there, so they have uniforms. Some of them would have. And some of them who don't have, they would have to either purchase or ask individuals to be able to purchase one for them. And the great thing about the club is that the uniform club is the only arm of the church that can raise funds for itself to use in the club. So it's important you can raise funds and make it easier for the members of the club. I trust that your question was answered.
Thank you, Pastor. I want to say, just before we close, I was trying to remember what year it was. There was a group of hikers that got lost in the forest. When I find them, went to look for them. Was it? Because it was a big search and rescue taking place. 1990, around there.
Yeah, somewhere around 2000, between 2001 to 99, somewhere there.
Yeah.
Or 98, somewhere around there, I think it was.
And the defense force was part of that search and rescue, and our very own, some of our leaders from South, they took some of us on that search and rescue. And at the end, when the folks were found, they honor us, by giving us certificate for being part of the search and rescue. And we were, the Pathfinder Club was recommended highly for what they did. And I think about a year or two after that, they made us part of the Independence Parade. So that's how we became part of the Independence Parade. Yeah, so when you're looking at the Independence Parade before COVID, once you don't fall on a Sabbath, you will see Pathfinder. So,
Borrow Day and all these different things invite us
yeah.
to an arena.
They borrow day, everything they start inviting us to, yeah. And coming out of that, in South, they started training a group of us for what they call search and rescue. And I said, I pray and I forgive them. They didn't do anything harmful to us, but I think that they needed to be prayed for. They took us, Brother Etienne. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pardon? Oh, yeah. So, so what they were doing is they was giving us special training outside of the regular club training, and part of the training that was part of PLA. When PLA came to us, we was halfway through the PLA curriculum, the training we were doing, and they took us to a place in St. Margaret's where it was scorpion infested. Scorpion infested. Now, when you reach up there, is then you realize what's happening. And it done getting dark, so you can't go home. You have to spend the night there. So survival instinct kicked in. So what happened? Scorpions are to stay outside. Human beings are to stay inside. So they told us to say, when you go in your tent, this is what you do. Stay away from the corners, because they're quick to go to the corners. And when you take off your shoe, you turn it a certain way. Now, we did that whole weekend. We survived. Yes, 2 persons got scorpion sting. 2 persons. One of them we took to the hospital, and they say, nothing, man. You just, you'll survive, Nothing serious happened to the person. The second person, when they got stung on camp, we had charcoal's water. We had charcoal's water, and we trying to tell the young lady, could we pause on YouTube for a minute, please? Southern Academy is known as the Barak for Pathfinder training. We went down there without tents. You had to find lumber to make tents. They put us in units. It had falcons. I was in the eagle unit. Fortunately or unfortunately, they placed me in charge of the unit. And as I tell people, I take responsibility very serious. When you have 12 people under your care for a weekend, it was not friends anymore or a casual camp. It was their safety. How are they sleeping at night? Are they comfortable? So I had to climb coconut tree and cut down coconut branches and go and look for lumber and make sure that they had a proper lean-to, Officer Sharon, to sleep in. And folks started to invade our camps, But I'm saying that to say this, that they teach you how to survive. One of the things I was amazed about that I've never known, fishing, during my life, that all you need to do is when you go to a river, just put some flour in your hand, Brother Cooper, and put it in the water and the fish will come. I say, wow, flour in your hand and put it, if you're by a river and you want to catch fish, put flour in your hand, put it in the river. The fish will come and you'll have a meal. I say, wow. So after all those training, yeah, this is what I prayed, and that's why I say, I have to forgive them, Sister Felicia. I was working in Tobago, came down for a Elijah camp. We give our camp's name. And they took us to the arena forest. In the arena forest, they did not tell you where you are going to pitch your tent. They give you coordinates. That time they are teaching us to read map. They are teaching us to read maps. We had soldiers there with us, and they gave us our coordinates. 2 groups. So when I came from Tobago, I know after the camp I will go home with my bene ball and my sugar cake, Sister Bria, Sister Brishon, and I load up to come to Trinidad. And I say after the camp, I have my goodies to carry home, forgetting that you allow 1 meal for a weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Choose your cooked meal. The other days, you have to cook your meal yourself. You're allowed to carry 1 meal, 1 pre-cooked meal. So when they have their garbage bag walking around from everybody coming down, and I'm saying, Lord, have mercy. So when they reach by me and I open the bag, the officers, them watch one another and say, where he going with all this? They say, well, you have to take 1 and leave the rest, and after the camp, you'll get it back. I say, it's on good. So I give them everything, bene balls, sugar cake, fudge, I give them bene stick. Just try not to remember, because at a certain time you might be able to check how many bene balls you brought down. So we went to the camp. You were taught how to purify your water. You were allowed to take 1 bath. Yeah. This was a serious survival camp. As I said, they were training us for search and rescue. And one of the group, they missed their point completely, their camping spot, and end up getting lost. So we pitch our tent, start our campfire, and then the officers that were in charge, they call the more senior pathfinders, and they ask us, well, when I say pathfinder, I mean master guides and MIT. They say we want to have a search and rescue for those who are missing. You cannot sleep comfortable until you find the rest of the group. So we went in search of them. We followed the coordinate points that they received, went to the exact spot. They were nowhere to be found. Sometimes during the night we went back again and we found them. Thank God we found them. And these people really had the heart to say, when they were found, we say, you all were lost, how you missed your point, your camping spot, you missed the coordinate points completely. They say they were not lost, they were temporarily dislocated. Pastor, I try to understand that. But 2 things were really amazing for the entire camp. If I had not seen it or been there to witness it for myself, I would have thought it hard to believe. For the entire weekend, it rained in the arena forest. It rained. And we had a campfire that never went out for a moment. When I say it rained. And that campfire never went out. Everybody got turned to sit at the fire, get warmed up, and that's how we were taking turns. Nobody got sick. And when we went for a hike at night, one of the night rain didn't fall, and we went for a hike. And what we noticed in the dark whilst walking, the track was lit like candle, we just say labby, candle flies and things. It was lit. Fluorescent. It was lit, and we were following the track. I was so curious that I took it up. I said in the morning, I need to see what is this. And it was like a leaf. It was like a leaf. And in the night, it seems to glow. And I was amazed. How could this happen? So, even in nature, these things are out there. So, it was really, really a learning point for all of us. And at the end of the camp, this is where the prayer came in. The forgiveness has been given to them. If they are viewing and they feel to buy back the Bene Ball, you can buy back. Nobody don't turn down Bene Ball and Bene Sticks. After the camp, even to today, I have not seen my Bene Ball, my Bene Stick, my red mango, my fudge, my sugar cake. But I still love my officers, and I had to pray for their forgiveness. But camp is a wonderful experience. Sister Annette. Mm-hmm. 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 Pastor Jeffrey, the youth director of the South Caribbean Conference, this question is directed to you.
Okay, one, I believe two, I believe when we have different national events, and also when the children are ready to receive their pins and different things, there are some things that they don't pay for. So the registration helps with those things as well. It's just $125 for a club. Yeah. Okay, registration, so that the names, yeah, so that it's what we call a yearly due, right? Yearly dues, so that during the year, and then they have to go certain places, as I said before, and receive certain insignias and so on. Some of these things they don't have to pay for. Right? Those things are important. So that's why they must register. And when they are ready to go out, anything, the South Caribbean Conference could say, well, yes, this person is part of the national club, really, of the South Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Many people, after last week or week before, a lady sent from, I think it's Guyana or somewhere, to ask me to write a letter because she got her Pathfinder and Master Guide invested here, pins here. And so she had to report to Guyana because she wanted to work there with them in the club. And she had to get permission stating that she was trained in South Caribbean Conference. And because of her name being on the list and you would see these things, we could vouch and say, well, yes, she was part and parcel of the club of South Caribbean Conference. So all these things. Yes. Mm. Okay. You're supposed to do, the book is one book per year, but if you have to get, if you have to be invested or receive a pin rather, they would pin you once. But the other pins, if you have earned them, they would give you them in your hands, so you'd pin them on. But it's just one pin per invested here. That's how it should be. Yes. But that's how it should be. So the club year for like Adventurer and Pathfinder, it spans a certain time limit. So within that time, you must do certain things incrementally. So you take time, you don't rush it. Because believe it or not, let me say it again, church, what these children do in these books are important. And that's why I ask parents to go through the information in the books, and you would see these things help these children to be solid, to understand families as well, and to draw them close together. You know what it is to tell a child, draw your family, your mother and your father, and sometimes mommy and daddy fighting. What do you think they would do? So that's why there are counselors and different professional people who earn certain things. You don't just bring people into a club for bringing them sake. They must be there to help guide our young people so that at a particular age, they can handle it. You see these pathfinders and these master guides? You could drop them on any part of the planet and they would survive. We are trained to survive and to have discipline. So when you see them come, they can't wear the pants how they want, and tight pants and big pants, and it fall in one way. No. You have to be respectable and neat. Look at the cadets. Look at the scouts. Sometimes they don't want to do the thing home and here, you know. But when they go in the police source and the police tell them to shave and to pull up your pants and pull your belt, they bound to must to do it. If they have to do it there, let us help them to do it here first. So they wouldn't have to reach there to get the pressure. You learn it from a tender age.
Yeah, Sister Anna, a lovely question. The thing is, example, and it happens a lot with either pastors' children. Many times they end up leaving a club and coming to another church and missing the investiture that they would have been in. Sometimes they are invited back for it, but it doesn't always happen like that. So example, I'll give an example, maybe like pastor's daughter. She may have done 2 classes and have never been invested before. What we do is we review the evidence she would have had, which would have had dates signed, and that's why it's important for the evidence. So let's say Sobo Gems has an investiture in October, because we have a lot of children who have done work and has not been invested because of the and we did before, then COVID came, if you remember. We had a dynamic thing. I never forget that date, March 16th, when we were down Paris Lands. They earned honors that day. So let's say we have investiture. So pastor's daughter, if she has the evidence, would have the class or 2 classes from before. But say, how old is your daughter, sir? 12. So 12. So she's now in Pathfinders. So 12 years. So let's say she's going to do friend and after friend. So let's say she's companion. She cannot go back and be invested in friend if she hasn't done it. But for companion, she can be invested in companion. If she so chooses, if you notice, some of us have that patch that has all of the classes. So you either get invested in all of the classes, and we try to get that. So she can finish the work in friend and companion, get invested, but only in companion. And when that time comes, she can then wear that as a master guide because she would have finished all the classes or taught all of the classes. So it's a lot of Pathfinders end up to be teachers and nurses because the health aspect, the nature study is so grand. Our children do good in biology because we go into flowers, we go into bees, we go into trees, we go into stars, we go into, it's so much, we go into gems. We go into leathercraft, we go into animal husbandry. Do you all know that? It's vast. So I hope I answer your question. And one more thing, I just want to say something. Before my APLA, I had to camp in winter snow with 1 garbage bag and survive. So we are really taught how to survive. 1 garbage bag. Believe it or not. And we learn how to do it. So.
Amen. Sullivan, I'm glad we don't experience winter down here. I would not volunteer to go out. I prefer, honestly, I prefer to travel during the winter, but not to camp during the winter. No. Or to add to what they were saying, one of the thing you can do that you can earn more than 1 at a time are honors. you can do as much honors as you can. But for these is one at a time. Honors, you know, cooking, preaching, witnessing, all those are honors. Painting, you know, they have more advanced honors in the sense of IT, welding, mechanic, fabrication. So you can earn more than one honor at a time. We can do like 6 to 12 honors in one weekend. So we hoping to see good things, Sister Laverne. We are hoping to see good things starting from in Sobo very soon. I not sure if you have a starting date ready for us, but we hoping to see things starting very soon. And I personally will vouch my support for the club. I personally will vouch. I cannot vouch for my daughter because, you know, she's in another club. She's listening. And so she has to remain in her club. I'm not pinned to a club, thank God for Jesus. So I am a part of the upcoming Sobo Club. So Pastor Jeffrey, the next time you hear about the Sobo Club, speaking, prophetically speaking, you would hear we are ready for camporee, and we taking part in everything. Amen. Officer Sharon, fancy drill. We down here we good in prophecy. We on top the ball with current events. So tell those in the north, look out, for the south is starting to rumble. And you only see in the smoke, because where there is smoke, there is fire. So we want to thank our friend, our brother, our commander-in-chief, Pastor Wayne Jeffrey, for taking your time out and spending your day with us and helping to give our club here a kickstart once again. And we want to let you know, by God's grace, the next time you return to Sobo, it will be for a club investiture service. I'm saying those things because I believe, Sister Felicia, it can happen. So that's my 2 cents for now. I hope I don't get nightmares from club tonight, because I now remember another club event activity that we were camping. You know, club is really amazing. I don't know if you all know a tree called Bacano tree. Right, Bacano. You know, you cut the branch, shave off the bark, and wrap your flour on it and roast it, and then pack your filling inside it and you eat it. It's one of the three that is not poisonous, and you can use them to make that. Yeah, it's not poisonous. You wrap your flour around it and you bake it, you roast it, and you take it on, you eat swirl, yeah, you could call it swirl bread, and then you put your filling in it and eat it. Yeah, that's how we survive out there. So all of this will be coming home here to show you all how it's done. Yeah. And lighting a fire with one stick of match and no match. So camp is one of, hear me camp now. I think that's why I love camp, carnival camp, because of pathfinding, but I'm in it for the children, so they can benefit, because I know what I had benefit. And parents, when we come to you, we just will solicit your support. Thank you. I hand over to the officers at this time.
Thank you, Pastor Brent. I just want to see if it have any volunteers that are willing to work with Sobo Gem, this church. Anybody willing to render service to God in Pathfinder. And as a counselor, you don't have to be afraid. It is easy. And I promise I will always come and help, find time to come and help. That is my duty as a South region. So let me see the hands of those who volunteering. Parents are talking about the adults, you know, even the young adults who volunteering just to support and be part as a counselor in the club. Thanks, amen, amen. You're stretching? Oh, good. Anybody else? All and willing? Oh my. And all those who have those choristers, them who was up here, if only not in Pathfinders, I will like when I come back, I see all you, I hear that all you join the club, those voices, that is where it begins, right? Continue. Job well done. Normally I hear a lot of choruses. That was good. Excellent. I salute. Right. So what I would like you all to do, because Pastor have to go quite Sandy Grandy, I have to go for my daughter to go to do some drills with a club. So I would like you all to watch on YouTube this movie, Cadet Kelly. I would like the parents to watch it with the children. I really, really would like all you to watch that movie, Cadet Kelly, right? That will tell all you everything. And it's a nice movie that all you will learn a lot from it. I say no more. And thank you for having me here. Okay, let's stand as we close. Prayer position everywhere, everyone. Heavenly Father, we thank you, dear Lord, for this Sabbath day, dear Lord. We thank you, dear Lord, this wonderful day, dear Lord, that I have spent down here. I did enjoy, dear Lord, every moment of it, dear Lord. I thank you, dear Lord, for blessing us, dear Lord, with the word, with everything that was said and done, dear Lord. All those who have taken part in this afternoon program, dear Lord, the children, the parents, everybody who was here, dear Lord, continue to bless them. As we leave to go in our separate homes, dear Lord, be with us, dear Lord, carry us to our homes safely, dear Lord. Bless each and every heart that is bowing before us, dear Lord, and what was said and done, dear Lord, that they will not just say a good program another day, dear Lord, but they will be keepers of flame, Lord, that they will continue to be soldiers for you, servant for you, dear Lord, a servant of God and a friend to man, dear Lord. I want to thank you again, dear Lord, and what we have failed of asking of thee this evening, fail not to grant it unto us. In Jesus' name, amen. So, bye everyone. See you. Dismiss.